Okay, so I'm not going to make this one very long, but I just want to talk about a disturbing issue, which is homophobic hate crime in Russia. Now, the reason I'm focusing on Russia is because it's in relation to a video I've just watched, very disturbing video. This is not to say that it only happens in Russia, but it's quite obvious that Russia has a serious problem with this. I'll put a link to the video, but I'll warn you, it's quite, if you're a sensitive person, it is quite disturbing because it doesn't really leave anything to the imagination. Um, just as a general message, I'm not gay, so if anyone responds that way, that's not the case. But I do believe in human rights, and I also think that any gang, regardless of the situation that picks on an individual, are worthless cards. I have hatred for such people. I think they're the scum of the earth in any context, but when they are picking on people they know can't defend themselves, i.e. individuals, then I think it's just disgusting. And to make matters worse, the Russian state most definitely is not on the victim's side. I think that's why there is focus on Russia. Gay hate crime also happens in Western countries, but we have very strict legislation about that. What I find interesting is that in Russia, I don't know the exact name of the legislation, but they have a concept of dealing with hooliganism. This can refer to actual hooligans, i.e. football hooligans, or just general, it's a general terminology that's used for disorder. Now, if that is really the priority or a priority of the Russian legal system, then why is there not a much bigger crackdown on this sort of behaviour? To be clear, these people who are engaging in this seem to have no fear of doing it in broad daylight. So we're not talking about back alleys late at night. This is broad daylight. There has been violent attacks at gay rights demonstrations. And again, it comes down to this old idea that they're protecting children from sexual deviance. That's the excuse for it. But basically, they're just a pack of violent thugs. Um, Now, Russia's been quite defensive in saying, "Oh, we're not a homophobic country." At least that's the official line from Putin and so on. But I think they need to make it clear that, well, whatever your views are on actual gay rights issues, I think the priority right now has to be that gay people are not fearing for their lives. This is way beyond issues like gay marriage and so on. I think what Russian LGBT activists are calling for is basically to be treated like human beings. So this disgusts me to see this sort of stuff. And if if the Russian system was really taking this seriously, then these thugs would be brought away and thrown behind bars where they belong. Um, I think it's disgusting. There isn't really much more I can add to this video. A few disclaimers. If you're Russian, you don't like what I'm saying, fuck you. The problem is yours. If you think there's nothing wrong with this behavior, I'm not talking here about the rights and wrongs of being gay. I personally don't have a problem with it, but that isn't even the issue here. I'm talking about physical attacks. I'm talking about cardly, um, worthless little men who think that they are making themselves feel good by attacking individuals. And it sickens me to the core, to be quite frank. Um, so I personally think that they, there needs to be a much harder line against this. I mean, this is not even about, put it this way, right? If your argument is that this is sexually deviant behavior, if that is really your line of thinking, then that the government deal with that. But this sort of vigilantism, and incidentally, that's not what I believe. I think that's a complete distortion. But basically, what we're saying is scary because these guys are not afraid to do this in daylight. Gay activists have said when they do go to the police, they're basically ignored, or they've said, "What do you expect?" So the police don't take this seriously. The Russian state isn't taking it seriously enough. This is not about turning Russia into San Francisco. That's not the issue here. The issue is about basic human rights. And what's happening to these people is frankly, I mean, what's happening to the victims is reprehensible. I'll put a link to the video, but I'll warn you, it's quite graphic. Any comments on this video that are homophobic in the sense of, well, condoning this or anything like that, I'll remove that without question. Um, yeah.